Lorna were formed in Nottingham in 1999, and since then they've cultivated a blend of indie pop, cinematic textures and electronica. Although they describe themselves as essentially a studio band, their live shows, I've seen them share bills with the likes of Echo and the Bunnymen and The Wedding Present, and it's taken them to places like Poland, Spain and the west coast of America. It's a pleasure for me to talk to them as they release their 6th album, Constellations, on Words on Music Records. So the people of Lorna, hello.
Hey, Andy.
Hey.
Hello. To start with, I know this is probably going to give it a bit of a feel of a David Brent training day, but can you just start by introducing yourselves?
Yeah, and I sing and play percussion.
I'm Mark and I play guitar and sing.
I'm Matt, I play flute and guitar and thankfully don't sing.
And I'm Madeline and I play violin and likewise do not sing.
Lovely. Yeah. So so we're here for the release of Constellations. So first of all, how excited are you all by it coming out?
Excited, yeah. It's been a long time coming. So long that I've forgotten half the songs in it. But yeah, we're very excited. We're very, very proud of this release and really excited to share it with everybody.
I think, like Sharon said, I think it's an amazing day to finally see it physically out there. Obviously, we've been listening to it ourselves for quite a while now, and it's really nice to finally share it with somebody else. And I think we should be really proud of what we've achieved. I think it's a wonderful piece of work, and it reflects everyone's efforts. And it's just brilliant to finally see it out there and hopefully get some nice feedback about it.
Yeah, I'm really proud of it because it felt like we were making it really quickly. Because I started writing it almost the month that our last album, London's Leaving Me, came out. And we finished writing the songs for it before the end of 2015. Then recorded it quite quickly for us as well. And then we sort of had it in a suitcase in our house for a few years. And yeah, I'm really glad that people finally get to hear it. It's something we're really proud of. And I think it's really special because, as Andy stated, we are primarily a studio band, but we have formed a really, really, really lovely and stable lineup over the last 5 or 6 years, and to record with that lineup especially was a really lovely thing. And we recorded more like a band than ever before, and we all worked on it together. So it's a really exciting one for people to hear.
Yeah, it kind of. Sorry, Maddie, go on.
No, I was just going to say we holed up in a house for a weekend and basically recorded most of it in a house all together, which we all wish we could do again right now. But it was a lot of fun to actually, it was like renting a house and going off for the weekend and hanging out with your friends. And then we just worked really hard and recorded most of the album too.
Felt like summer camp, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it reminded me a bit of when we recorded Static Patterns as well, that we'd just come back from Spain at that time. And we were, again, we've all been kind of living together for that week on tour. And so we were all really together when we actually then recorded again and wrote together. So it kind of worked really well. And I think it was the same kind of feeling for me again this time round, that, to work on London's Leaving Me and then go straight into this as a really tight unit of people who all get on incredibly well, really good friends as well. And to go away, as Maddie said, and just get holed up together for a few days and just really concentrate. And it was very intense and very hard work at times, exhausting, but it was immense fun as well. And I think that comes across in the album.
Does the writing take place over a weekend like that? The writing, or is the writing of the songs already really in place, or the germ of the song already in place, and then they're developed in the studio like that?
The writing of the songs, we don't really have a formula, Andy. We tend to do it different every album we do. But what was really particularly lovely about this one is we actually rehearsed the songs in our little home studio here, and we wrote the parts and all the string parts, and we sort of rehearsed it all before we record it, which was, I believe, the way that regular bands work. It was just something we'd never done, and I was really proud that we all contributed to that way. So yeah, we did write and rehearse everything before we recorded it, as opposed to usually people would come around and improvise parts on the spot, or we'd come around and write a part and then record it on the same day. So it's been a really fresh way of working.
Yes, I think one of the benefits of working the way we did in terms of going away to the house together was the fact that normally maybe I would put flute down, and then Ryan Maddie, Anna, whoever would come along and do strings separately or vice versa. And actually we could all record it together at the same time. So there were embellishments along the way where we stopped and said, well, let's try doing this. And one of you play something a little bit different. We'd give it a go. If it sounded good, we'd immediately do a take. And we've never worked like that before. So I think there's a lot more kind of organic stuff, even though we kind of knew our parts ahead of the recording. It was much more organic on the day. And I think that thinking about a couple of songs in particular that were recorded at the house, I remember vividly being stood on the landing with the mic set up for the flute and the cables going under the bedroom door to where Ryan and Maddie were doing the strings, but to play at the same time was almost like it was playing live, so it's a bit more like doing a gig. So if there's a particular dynamic that somebody put in, other people could kind of feed off that. And again, you tend to lose a little bit of that in studio recording because you're doing it incrementally rather than all at the same time.
Lovely, yeah. I think it's time that we heard one of the songs from the album. We're going to hear Foxes. So tell me a little bit about the story behind this song.
Yeah, it's one of the first songs that I'd written in September 2015. I can remember very vividly. We just come off a run of a record 6 gigs, which we did that summer, which was like a world tour to Lorna. And I was just really, really, really infused and really pumped up that we'd been playing as a band, and we had this amazing band. Maddie had been with us for a year or so. We'd been out playing a lot, and I really wanted to write a song more like a band and envisage how we would all play it. And so we wrote it in September, and lyrically it was just about, I'm really always really interested in writing about seasons. It seems to be a lyrical theme that's always been with Lorna since we've been here, and it was just we're coming off the end of a pretty long hot summer, and it seems like the leaves were turning, and I love that time of year. I love the start of autumn, and I just wanted to reflect that in a song. So that's Foxes.
Beautifully put. And we're going to hear it now. Here's Lorna with Foxes.
foxes in street lights. I can feel that running fast. I can feel it when it's near. The sky above us burns. The star of David starts to fade. I can feel it when it falls. I can feel it when it's near. The sky above us burns. The star of David starts to fade.
When you wrote Foxes, Mark, I remember you emailing it across to me, and I think we'd only like done a gig the week before or something like that, and it was kind of like the closure to the kind of previous efforts.
Yeah.
And then I got this email from you. It's like a new song. I was like, oh my word! Do you not stop? It's totally relentless. I mean, and it was a beautiful song, and you could even tell from that like early acoustic demo that it was going to be an absolute peach of a song. But it was like there's just no rest, is there?
Well, that's the intention with Constellations was because London's Leaving Me we wrote and recorded quite quickly and played lots of shows, well, by our standards, and I was just infused by what we were doing, but I wanted to write something and put it out very quickly. So yeah, we wrote all of Constellations, at least the lyrics and the chords and at least the outline of the song, in the second half of 2015. So yeah, it was planned to come together quite quickly.
Yeah, and then I think we added the string parts and the flute part in like February, March time and recorded in May.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So the video for Foxes, that was filmed in Poland, wasn't it? So how did that trip come about?
Yeah, so we were invited to play the Opole festival in Poland by a guy called Roman, who was really lovely. We had been talking about it for some time. I think it's a festival that happens annually and it's funded by the council, and it's in a really cool little university town, and it seemed almost too good to be true. It's probably not going to happen. We've had a few conversations in the past with different event organizers in Europe who have kind of said, oh, it'd be really cool if you came and played this festival or that gig, and it never really happened. And then it happened, and it was I think we'd properly felt like a real sort of band.
Yeah. It's amazing.
For probably the first time since our tour of Spain, really. It was an amazing experience. They were so hospitable and so lovely and looked after us so well, and it was just a really, really incredible experience to have played it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
The video certainly sells Poland really well, and it sounds like you had a great time there.
Yeah, Maddie was with her 1-year-old child, but not even one.
Yeah, she was just almost one. Yeah,
it was really lovely, wasn't it? Just having her about, and a real sort of family trip, wasn't it? I think.
Excellent. So moving back to the album, when did you say the recording was completed?
I think it was completed around about May. The last thing we did with the strings and the vocals and the wind and the flute and the bass guitar. So basically, I put all down my parts, which was the first thing I did was the drums, which we did at JT Saw in Nottingham. I think that was February 2016. And then I typically put down all of the guitars and the basses that I do, the keyboards and things. The rest of that year, then we did vocals, strings, brass, wind, Andy's bass, Matt's guitars, all of that in sort of May, June time in 2016, and then probably spent at least another year, if not more, than mixing. Because mixing, we have these really huge tracks and grand arrangements, so it takes quite a long time. So perhaps at least another year and a half mixing.
And was Snowfall the Christmas song that year?
Yeah,
because Snowfall was the one that wasn't actually recorded that weekend and written in the same time.
That's right. That's a good point. And we just loved the song so much and thought it was so strong. It's one Matt had written for his solo project a year or two before. I just always loved the song.
Okay, so let's hear another song then, and this time it's going to be, I believe, The Secret Harmony. So, so what's the story behind this one?
Was a song that we would have had in Lorna back in 2002 with Chris Moore, Peter Morley, and Matt, and Jim, part of our older lineups. And it's a song we had called Into Paradise I Saw, which is something we did in Cyrex Studios. We were probably in our early to mid-20s back then. I remember we had a recording session through the night, which seems terrifying, being past 9:30 now. And I think we recorded at sort of 4 or 5 in the morning on a late night. But it never had a chorus. It was just sort of strophic. It was just a verse over and over again. So Sharon just wrote this really gorgeous chorus for it one weekend. I remember in particular, it was really a really poignant moment. You just wrote this gorgeous chorus, and then we had a brand new song.
So let's hear it then. Here's The Secret Harmony.
Blood out of the stars. sleeps in the trunk.
So then the album was completed and mixed in around about 2018, and it was pressed by Words on Music. But there was a number of delays for it at that point. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so I was actually, so I'm from Minneapolis, which is where Words on Music are based, but it was totally a coincidence. We kind of realized it the first rehearsal I came to, and kind of like, wait, you're from Minneapolis, isn't that where Words on Music are based? So and I was back visiting my parents in September 2018, and we kind of said, well, it's all ready, I might as well bring some copies back and we can kind of have a look at them as a band and have a few for ourselves and give out to a couple of people we know. And so I kind of arranged everything with Eric and realized that actually the base of where Words on Music is around the corner from where I lived when I was at university. So it's just like this really funny thing. So my husband and I went over and spent a couple of hours maybe with Eric, just talking about everything, and had a really nice time meeting him, and then brought, I don't know, 10 or 15 copies of the CD back. And we were all kind of ready to release it early in 2019. Matt, do you want to talk a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, sure. So I think we were due to release February 2019. We're planning a sort of launch gig around that time.
Yeah.
And actually on the 1st of Feb, my daughter was taken really ill, just out of the blue. So and she was then latterly diagnosed with bone cancer. So we took a year off. I mean, basically it was an amazing gesture from the band, to be honest, because I'd kind of rang Mark with the news and basically said, I don't want to do this, but if need be, then I'll quit in the band, kind of thing. And Mark said, no, it doesn't happen like that. You know, we're a team, we're a family unit. So thankfully everyone was in agreement, and we just kind of waited. And my daughter finished her treatment kind of January this year, so January 2020. So as a result, things could then kind of start to get back to normal a little bit, and we could deal with it more as a band again. So give it some more attention, and here we are today.
Well, I think it does. The whole thing shows. Thank you for sharing that, Matt. I think that just shows what what special people you all are to the support that you gave for Matt and his family at that time. I remember being really impressed by it, and I thought it was a wonderful thing. And how's Abby now? That's the most important thing.
Yeah, she's doing really well, thank you. Yeah, back at school and just getting on with her rehab and stuff, and doing well, really good.
Lovely, excellent. Okay, so it's probably a little bit difficult to say given the current circumstances, but what are your current future plans for Lorna?
Matt, you've been leading the way.
I don't know. I don't really know what our plans are, to be honest, in terms of how we're going to release things and when we're going to play. And are you going to talk about recording for Christmas?
Yeah, well, I think further afield, because we're never a band who exists in a conventional way. First and foremost, we're just a terrific group of friends and husband and wife who make music and enjoy doing it. We're not going to ever split up or anything. Sometimes we take longer to put music out, and sometimes we don't. But I think it's been a few years since we wrote and put out an album. I know Matt's been starting to send a few things through, and I've certainly got a few ideas in my head which I've not put down yet. I've recorded a few solo albums in the last year, one of which I still need to release. So I've got to been quite tied up with that. But we're definitely going to write some more albums and hopefully one day play live again and just continuing what we're doing. So
I'm really looking forward to being able to play with you guys again.
Yeah. I think this being together in the same room will just be a thrill in its own way, no matter what comes out of it. That's just food or music or conversation. I think that's
never have we missed lugging our equipment into a smelly rehearsal room.
Yeah,
as much as we are at the moment.
Yeah, we're getting a new house, which could become a new rehearsal room. So.
Yeah, I just can't wait to just get in a room together and just play something, regardless of what it is. I just think it'd be really nice just to make music again. You know, I mean, I've not even been doing anything solo really. I've just been jamming around every now and then. So just to play with other people and play proper songs again, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I was really lucky in October. I play with one of the orchestras in Nottingham, and they worked really, really hard and put a whole bunch of things in place, and we got to actually do a concert at the Albert Hall in Nottingham. And I think, well, we sold out however many seats we were able to sell, and when we finished playing, the audience stood up, and not everyone, but a selection of the audience stood up, and we had a little bit of a standing ovation. And I think all of the players just kind of half lost it, because just hearing applause and being able to play with other people, even though you're all sitting there in your masks and like way far away from everyone else, and it was just so emotional. And I feel so grateful that I was able to play with people, even, you know,
it's an emotional thing, though, isn't it? You know, response to music. I think the pandemic has especially showed how important the arts is, and perhaps how underappreciated and underfunded it is. But I think just being able to play music together as a band is probably the first thing, or write something together, or have a writing session together. But just attending and listening to music with your friends as well, I think would just be a really special thing. But before the year's out, we are going to put something completely brand new out as well, which wasn't on Constellations, because we're going to do a little Christmas EP with some friends of ours. I know it's the first week of December at the moment. We haven't quite finished it yet, but we're going to put something out really quickly. And the Amber Heard are going to be on it, and the Slow Returning going to be on it. I'm going to do a solo item, and it's something we're really looking forward to. It's just a low-key, fun little release before the end of the year as well. So.
Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to hearing that, and it neatly allows us to move on to Christmas, because it's going to be a bit different for us all this year. I think so. How are you going to be spending Christmas this year?
Sharon?
We are going to be spending Christmas here.
With this one?
With this little... And I think we're just going to take it really, really easy. And just...
I haven't got much choice.
Yeah, well, we haven't got much choice,
No,
but no, I think it's just... we're just going to take it really easy.
I think everybody needs a moment just to unwind and relax and be grateful for what we've got. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be hard not seeing family, but I think it's important. You know, you miss. I'm the biggest Christmas guy there is. I think I love Christmas. I love Christmas traditions, but I think you don't see your family for 1 year, your friends for 1 year, and you hopefully, you know, invest in many future happy years. So yeah, we'll just be watching TV and reading and walking and trying to get our breath back and looking forward to the end of this year, really.
Yeah.
What about you, Maddie? What are you going to be up to?
We're here with the kids, so I've got a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I'm sure we'll be up really early in the morning. And we're just spending the day at home. And we're lucky enough that we both work from home, my husband and I, and so we're taking the kids out of nursery a week early, and we're basically quarantining at home for a week and a half,
Nice.
so that we can see my in-laws and my sister-in-law, because we haven't seen them for a while. So we are actually going to take advantage of the bubble, but in as safe a manner as we can, because all of us work from home. So aside from the 2 kids in nursery, that's the only time we're going out. So I know we're really privileged that we're able to make that happen, because next year when my daughter's in school, we won't be able to do anything like that. So
Yeah.
How about you, Matt?
Well, we've got a bit of quarantine period as well, because thankfully the school year finishes just about early enough for us to quarantine. So we're not seeing my parents. We've made the decision that, you know, it's not worth the risk. But we are going to go. That's partly just like other underlying health concerns, I suppose. But we are going to go and see my in-laws for a little bit, but only for a day or two during that kind of little window. So the majority of Christmas is going to be spent at home with the family here, like the rest of you guys. Which is different. It's hard at Christmas, but it's what we've got to do. Mark's already said it, you know, it's what we've got to do. Yeah. What about you, Andy?
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I've not really gone very far since March, to be honest. But yeah, we're just gonna stay at home. We'll have a brief sort of like visit to my parents to leave things at the end of the drive, and the same with my wife's daughter and her family. We'll be doing the same. So a few quick rounds, and then back to relax at home for the rest of the day.
Maybe we can start writing some music. December 25th, I'll call a virtual band meeting.
There'll be no days off.
Okay, so yeah, last couple now, and carrying on the Christmas theme. I think at Christmas time, I've always ended up asking these 2 questions. So, what's your favourite Christmas film?
I'll go last.
You're gonna... Well, mine's probably going to be yours.
I don't think it is.
Okay, I'll say National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Okay, I like White Christmas.
I agree. I'm really struggling to think of Christmas films. I'm not a big Christmas film fan. I must admit, with the kids, we've watched all the nativity films, and the first nativity is pure genius. But maybe that, or possibly a Muppet Christmas Carol, just because it's brilliant and it's great fun.
Pure genius, isn't it? Well, I'm a massive Christmas film person. I've got a Dropbox with about 100 Christmas movies in, which I start watching from about the middle of October onwards. So many I could shout out to. Obviously, Christmas Vacation is royalty. This House of Muppets is royalty. Lots and lots and lots of made-for-TV movies. With too many to mention. But I think my favourite film series of all time is Star Wars. So I always class all of the Star Wars movies as my favourite film. But my second favourite film of all time is also a Christmas film, which is Gremlins. And I just think it's just an unbelievably perfect film from start to finish. I think it's a really, really beautiful, stunning film, as well as a scary and silly film. So I'm pretty privileged for my second favourite film of all time to also be a Christmas movie, because it's out on Christmas Eve. So yeah, Gremlins for me.
Lovely, excellent. And finally, on a similar vein, Christmas songs. They can be a mixed bag, can't they? But have you got a favourite?
I'm trying to blank.
I know. I enjoy listening to the Sufjan Stevens, his Christmas album. I'm not sure there's a particular song on it, but I like the vibe and the way he's taken some classics and written some of his own and found different ways. So I think he has one or two songs that he writes 2 or 3 different versions of them in different ways. So yeah, it's a nice one.
It's lovely. Yeah, I've in fact, to be honest, if I had longer arms, I'd be able to reach for it behind me. But yeah, it's just a little bit too far away.
What about you, Matt? Were you with Christmas songs before I blab on about them?
Do you know what? It's a really tricky one. I like kind of traditional carols. So things like Once in Royal Davis City, I think it just melts my heart totally. I think it's all the kind of the brass and stuff. It just sums up Christmas for me, and I love that side of things. In terms of more modern, recognizable Christmas songs, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Christmas Rapping by the Waitresses. Which is a bit of a cheesy one, but there's something about it. I just think it's very, very silly. But I think if I had to pick one that just kind of summed up Christmas from that collection of songs that always comes out every year, like Merry Christmas Everyone. Is that what it's called? The Slade one? Merry Christmas Everybody.
Merry Christmas Everybody.
Yeah, that one. As soon as you hear the opening couple of bars of that, you think it's Christmas Eve, isn't it? And you've had a few, and it's. So that's a pretty decent one, but I think all-time favourite probably Christmas Rapping for some bizarre reason.
Yeah, well, obviously I'm also a massive Christmas music fan. I write a lot of Christmas music. The nature of my work means I'm sort of working on Christmas music from sort of July onwards each year. From September, October, I don't really listen to anything other than Christmas music. But like Maddie says, the Sufjan Stevens album's amazing, obviously, but I think Lowe's Christmas album, which is over 20 years old now, paved the way for a lot of bands to create really, really stunning contemporary Christmas music. And I think it's a really serious and important genre. And I don't think we'd probably have the Sufjan Stevens stuff without the Lowe Christmas album. There was an album which came out a couple of years ago by the guy from The Editors and the guy from We Are Scientists called Smith and Burroughs, which is an amazing contemporary Christmas album. So I'm all for modern Christmas music. I think there's a huge scene of bands putting out amazing Christmas albums each year. That's something I hope Lorna are going to do a lot more of in the future. But if I had to pick one, it would have to be Fairy Tale of New York. I think it's probably not only my favourite Christmas song, it's probably one of my favourite songs ever. It's been in the news quite a bit lately for the right reasons. I think the decisions Radio 1 have made it right, and I think the band have supported that. I think although it reflects the time gone past, there are things in it that could be deemed offensive to people, and I think it's a strange thing to have a favourite song which is sort of past its sell-by date. But Fairy Tale New York, it's a really beautiful song. What about you, Andy?
You know what? I should have given this some thought. But I'm a little bit stuck by like Matt was really. I think. But the Sufjan Stevens album is really fantastic. Do always love putting that on at Christmas, and the Christmas with the Beach Boys, of course.
Yeah.
Album is something that it's something I always enjoy. So I'm probably sort of like deflected a little bit by the choices I'm giving, but yeah.
I think the Sufjan Stevens album, there's a couple, isn't there? The Silver and Gold is like I think a collection of a couple of them and some new things. How he just merges like traditional like Renaissance and Baroque Christmas music with just sort of this contemporary electronica feel, and just makes it all work as one unit. I just think it's fascinating. He's an absolute genius.
It's a really good. What's that really good Christmas album from years ago that had Belle and Sebastian and
Cool Christmas.
Cool Christmas.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a Teenage Fan Club.
Yeah, I really loved the Belle and Sebastian track on that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he did O Come Emmanuel, didn't they?
Gorgeous street section, which we still reference every now and again, don't we?
Yeah.
As an example of great string writing. So.
Okay, lovely. I've got nothing more.
Well,
I've got nothing more for you.
Superstar. Thanks so much for
Thank you.
being with us.
In this town and the August skies to another land in another space from surround into the place that we surround.